Hi to the people on the other
Side of the screen.
Today I'm going to talk about the chapter 4 ecosystems and communities of our biology course. It is divided into 5 stages, where the first one is climate. In this stage, we learn about weather and climate. Weather and climate both include variations in temperature, but they are not the same concept. Weather refers to the day-to-day conditions of the atmosphere. By the other hand, climate is defined as the average condition year after year. Also, it is important to notice that climate is not always uniform. There are small regions called microclimates. The global climate is shaped by many factors including solar energy trapped in the biosphere, latitude and solar energy, and heat transport in the biosphere. In solar energy trapped in the biosphere, we know that the main force is solar energy. We need to have balance between the heat that stays and the one that don't. All this balance we need is controlled by the concentration of gases such as carbon dioxide, methane, and water vapor. This phenomenon is called greenhouse effect. The latitude and solar energy depends on the curvature of the Earth that causes the same amount of energy to spread out over a much larger area near the poles than near the equator. This means that heat arrives better at zones that does not have to travel so much. The difference in the amount of heat received in the Earth causes this to divide into the tropical zone, temperate zone, and polar zone. Then, heat transport in the biosphere can be defined by the winds, that transport heat from regions of rising warmer air to regions of sinking cooler air. The cause of this is the rotation of the Earth that makes wind blow generally from west to east over the temperature zones and from east to west over the tropic and the poles. The second part is the niches and community interaction. Well, every species has its own range of tolerance, the ability to survive and reproduce under a range of environmental circumstances. A species' tolerance of environmental conditions then helps determine its address or habitat, the general place where an organism lives. A niche is the range of physical and biological conditions in which a species lives and the way the species obtains what it needs to survive and reproduce. The resources and the niche. Necessity of life, nesting, space, shelter, types of food, and places to feed. The physical aspects of the niche are the place animals need to live depending on their physical conditions, and the biological aspects of the niche are the biotic factors the organism need to survive. And also, we see the competitive exclusion principle that it states that no two species can occupy exactly the same niche in exactly the same habitat at exactly the same time. Instead of competing for similar resources, species usually divide them. Um, the predators affect the size of prey population in a community and determine the place prey can live and feed. The herbivores affect both the size and distribution of plant population in a community and determine the place they can survive and grow. Sometimes changes in the population of a single species, often called keystone species, can cause dramatic changes in the structure of a community. The third phase of this chapter is a succession, where a succession is where ecosystem change over time, especially after disturbances, as some species die out and new species move in. Primary and secondary succession are the parts of succession um, where primary succession occurs when an ecosystem is no longer habitable, and then pioneer species start to live in it. And then the secondary succession is when in healthy ecosystem following natural disturbances they reproduce the ecosystem that was in there. Then the fourth one is the biomes. Biomes are described in terms of abiotic like climate and soil type, and biotic factors like plant and animals. The major biomes are tropical rainforest, tropical dry forest, savanna, desert, temperate grassland, temperate woodland and scrubland, temperate forest, northwest coniferous forest, boreal forest, and tundra. These areas are not easily to classify into major biomes because they are not easily defined in terms of a typical community of plants and animals, mountain range, and polar ice caps. Then the fifth and last part is the aquatic ecosystems. These aquatic ecosystems are affected primarily by the water's depth, temperature, flow, and amount of dissolved nutrients. The sunlight region near the surface in which photosynthesis can occur is known as a photic zone. Below that zone is the dark aphoric zone, where photosynthesis cannot occur. Freshwater ecosystems can be divided into three main categories: rivers and streams, lakes and ponds, and freshwater wetlands. Also, there are estuaries that serve as spawning and nursery grounds for many ecological and commercially important fish and shellfish species. Ecologists usually divide the ocean into zones based on the depth and distance from shore: intertidal zone, coastal zone, and open zone.